leave the hospital for this publicity stunt?
Anna, well, thank you very much for having me on this evening. Good to be back on with you here on CNN. A couple things I want to tell you here. I want to tell you about two conversations that I've had with the president. One was about 15, 20 minutes ago, and then I had a lengthy conversation with him yesterday. And when I had this half-hour conversation with the president yesterday, he said two really important things. Number one, that we're going to defeat this virus. He's going to defeat it. We're going to defeat it as a country. Then we're going to go win this campaign. But he said another thing that I found very important, and he said, be careful. I want you to tell people to be careful. That means wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. If you can't socially distance, wear a mask. Be careful. Very important message from the president. And
okay, so let me stop you there because back to my original question, which was about the publicity stunt of him getting in this vehicle. Is that him being careful when he's putting these Secret Service members at risk when he has the coronavirus and is apparently, very infectious given his symptoms?
Well, Anna, what I was getting to is, number one, President Trump was feeling very good yesterday. He's feeling even better today. And so it's good to see him on the mend, good to see him on the rebound. And he's really been buoyed by the show of support from people who've been outside Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda. And he wanted to, as a sign of gratitude, show folks that he's still fighting for them. He's looking forward to getting back out on the campaign trail. And so in a very safe way, I drove by and said hi. And again, he did that in front of the camera, so the media was able to see it. And importantly, when I was talking with the president just about 15, 20 minutes ago, he said another thing that I found very telling. They said, I know what it's like to go through this. We're going to beat this as a country. And when I get out of here, we're going to be talking a lot about COVID and how we go and beat it as a country. And so I think there's a level of understanding as someone who has gone through it themselves, where he can relate with people, understanding people who have gone through this COVID virus, this China virus that has hit us. And this is the most important thing facing the country. And President Trump is ready to lead on it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm glad to hear that he does appear to be feeling much better. To that point about being honest with the American people about this virus, hundreds of thousands of Americans have battled and they've died from the virus, Jason. They have had to do so alone. Families and friends aren't allowed in the hospital. They're not allowed to go on joyrides. Many, can't even be treated in a hospital until they are critically ill. So I just wonder, how does a stunt like this, that not only puts a spotlight on the inequities in President's cavalier attitude to this virus, but endangers the lives of others, help his campaign?
Well, hold on. I want to push back a little bit there, Anna. I don't think this was a stunt at all. I think this was President Trump showing people that he's very gracious for the hospitality they've shown him, for the support that he has, for the hundreds of people outside Walter Reed Medical Center there,
but
showing
he's
that he's ready
done that.
to get back into it.
He's also done that in videos that he's put out on Twitter without having to endanger lives of Secret Service members by being in a car that's hermetically sealed in order to do this drive-by.
But we know that Secret Service always takes great care of their agents. They make sure there's always extra layer of precaution. Obviously,
we also know Secret Service agents have contracted the virus in the course of their duty.
But we also know that Secret Service takes great care of their agents. They always take extra precaution. I'm not part of White House operations or in the White House medical unit, so the exact logistics I can't speak to. But I know the Secret Service takes this very seriously. And I think it was great that President Trump was able to get out there and show he's ready to take this virus head on. You can't just stay locked up, whether it be in the attic or in the basement forever. We need to go out there and lead. We need to go and defeat this virus, show people around it. Now, to your earlier comment, look, one life lost because of the China virus is too many. And I think President Trump has been very clear in articulating that over and over, that we have to go and destroy this COVID-19 that we got, that our country has been attacked by. And that's a very clear focus from the president. You see it on everything, what he's talking about on the campaign trail. You see it in his speeches from the White House. You see it in our advertising. This is his clear number one focus.
He's been downplaying the virus. And let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. He has not been speaking about this virus in a serious manner. And yes, it's true. And we've heard him on tape talk about how he intentionally has downplayed this virus. He hasn't worn a mask every time. He's been holding these rallies without social distancing, with most of the people in the crowds not wearing masks either, which is an extremely high-risk environment, and he knows it.
Yeah, I'm going to fundamentally disagree with you on this. What the president has made very clear is that we can't stay locked up. We can't stay hidden in the basement forever. We have to take this head on. As the leader of the free world, he can't run away from this. You can't just stay locked up in the White House for 6 months.
But I'm going to stop you there because you're right. He could still go out there, but even as he goes out there, Jason, he is not taking the simple precautions that could save lives. And he's encouraging his supporters to come to these rallies, to his campaign rallies. Let me finish, please.
Anna, you're misstating it.
We have video. Let me show you the video from his campaign rallies, guys. Let's play it. Let's show the crowds that are packed into his rallies who don't have masks on. The campaign obviously has the ability to mandate masks and social distancing, and that hasn't been done, Jason. Will your rallies, will your events? Jason, hold on just a second. Let me ask the question, and then I will stop.
You're asking multiple questions on it before I can respond to any of them.
I haven't asked the full question. I'm making the point and showing the video with the Trump campaign supporters at these rallies without masks, without social distancing, in an environment in which you've set up for these rallies. Will you make changes now? Because the president has experienced this. He knows, the reality of the virus, as you discussed. Will there be changes to his campaign events in which you will mandate masks and mandate social distancing?
So let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we take everybody's temperature as they're coming into events. We're going to give everybody a mask. We're going to give everybody hand sanitizer.
Which is what you've been doing.
We're going to encourage people to wear their masks. And you know what? That's been a very safe and very responsible thing to do. And that's what we've done from the beginning of this. We're taking this very seriously. And so we've always been leading from the front on that. And we're going to continue to.
How is this very safe and very responsible? We just know from that Rose Garden event, for example, where people weren't wearing masks, where people weren't social distancing, there are multiple people who've since contracted the coronavirus.
Let me talk about that
it's the very same environment that we are seeing at your rallies, except for there are even more people who are packed in.
So everybody who's around the president,
fewer resources to make sure many of them have been
who's around the president. Okay, everybody who's around the president is tested. People are kept a distance away from the president. Also, there's masks that are distributed, hand sanitizer that's passed out. There's a lot of things that we don't know about this virus. So, for example, one reporter I know that contracted COVID. Anna, you have to. Anna, you got to let me.
People who wear masks.
Anna, can I just please just let me finish this answer, because I'm trying to be responsive.
I'll let you finish.
To you.
Forgive me.
And so one reporter who contracted coronavirus was wearing a mask the entire time and still contracted coronavirus. And so the important thing here is there are a lot of things we don't know about COVID. But what we do have to do is stay vigilant in developing these therapies and these vaccines to make sure that we defeat it. We can't stay locked up the rest of our lives. We're going to be smart. We're going to be responsible about this, but we're not going to hide in fear. President Trump wants to get life back to normal for people, and that's a critical point. On the other side with Joe Biden, I think he wants to stay locked up forever. President Trump is going to lead us through this, and he's going to defeat it.
Jason, let's be clear. The president is in the hospital right now because he contracted the virus, and he has put himself at risk by conducting the business the way he has and conducting some of these events. But let me just come back to you're part of his campaign. So let me just go back to a question that I asked you earlier.
Excuse me. You misstated, just real quick, you misstated something before. President Trump followed all of the protocols.
No, he didn't.
Everybody around him, everybody around him was tested. They kept distant, and still somehow he contracted it.
Okay,
my whole point earlier is that
not
there
true,
are a lot
though,
of things
Jason.
we just don't know.
We have the videos in which the president is at events where people aren't following the protocols, where people aren't social distancing, where people aren't wearing masks, who aren't following the CDC guidelines or the coronavirus task force guidance as to how best to stay safe until we have a vaccine. Jason, let me ask you, because you are on the Trump campaign, a few questions. When you talk about testing, we know testing is not prevention, but can you answer the question as to when the president's last negative test was?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm not part of the White House medical unit, so it'd be unfair for me to go and start trying to speculate or give answers to things that, quite frankly, I'm not in the loop on. That's not my responsibility as someone on the campaign. My job on the campaign is to help the president communicate his message to the American people, to voters who we have coming up in 4 short weeks away, and that's exactly what I'm doing here, to tell you how the president is taking this seriously. And so, but Anna, you know,
you just
as a
said a
campaign
second
person,
ago, everybody around the president is tested. That the testing regimen regimen is one of the reasons why it's
because
proof
I can
of
speak
him
to
taking
because
it
I can
seriously.
speak to from experience.
But now you're
So
saying
I'm
you
someone
don't
who
know
usually,
if he was when his last negative test was?
Anna, you're respectfully speaking, you're a little bit silly here. I'm not part of the White House medical unit. What I can speak to from experience, who's someone who's around the president some 4 or 5 days a week, that every time I'm around him, I'm tested usually about